Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
3 people are hurt after a shooting overnight. What we know about the investigation that closed down a busy road for hours.
And another warm day. Temperatures well above normal today and tomorrow. But I'm tracking a front that brings cooler air for the weekend. I'll show you our chance of showers for Friday.
And here on UNC's campus, we're taking a look at the next steps that university leaders are considering after that active shooter in August. Just ahead, I'll explain what one board member is saying should be done at this time.
And Durham voters elected a new mayor. What Leonardo Williams told WRAL his top priorities are once he takes office. But thank you for staying with us here. If you're just joining us at 8 o'clock, welcome to another wonderful day here. It's a Wednesday. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Yeah, we're halfway through the week, a week that is just not feeling like November.
No, not at all. We do need some rain. That is true.
Yes, we do. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner here to tell us if we can see rain, when are we going to have any? We need it.
Yes, we do. Friday is going to be our best chance, and it looks like it's going to be really light and patchy. We're talking about maybe, a tenth of an inch or so, which is not going to help us at all. It is going to cool down, and it'll be a bit cloudy for the weekend. But looking beautiful in North Hills right now. Very pleasant temperatures. We've climbed to 56 now in the Triangle, and with that sunshine, we'll climb quickly. 56 in Fayetteville, 52 in Goldsboro, 52 South Hills still, 46 in Roxboro. But those temperatures are on their way up. Instead of reaching 81, which was our forecast for today yesterday, we'll likely keep it in the upper 70s. We're going to see a northwesterly wind, or northeasterly wind, I should say, developing today. It'll keep our temperatures just a little below that 80-degree mark. We'll probably hit 80 again tomorrow before we see a much cooler weekend. We'll talk about how much our temperatures will likely drop. Coming up, Brian?
It is 8:02 right now, and all new. We have reports from our partners at Waze of some sort of an incident, a crash of some sort out on 87 southbound just beyond the Hodge Road interchange there in Knightdale. You can see on that southbound side heading back toward Raleigh that we're picking up some pretty big backups on the cameras there. Our sensors right now are indicating about a 4-minute delay. I've seen this swinging back and forth from about a 4-minute delay up to a 10-minute backup. So just be prepared for some heavy traffic there on 87 southbound. Watching some heavy delays also on the south side of Durham, 40 eastbound. We have some sun glare delays, a little bit of congestion. Also this minor crash over on the right shoulder just beyond the 55 interchange. Overall, about 11 minutes of slowdowns on 40 eastbound between 15501 out toward 885. Picking up a little bit of a westbound delay out there as well as we zoom into the southwest side of Durham heading out toward Chapel Hill. There is a report of a crash on 54 near I-40, and you can see that westbound backup beginning right around 751 out toward the 54 interchange. Also on 54 itself, some pretty heavy delays approaching I-40 this morning, so you do need to allow that extra time. The usual backups are building on 885 northbound and southbound between the I-40 and 147 interchanges right now. And as we take a look at those major approaches into Raleigh this morning, seeing some heavy backups coming in from Wake Forest. Not seeing any crashes out there on southbound Capitol Boulevard, but we are measuring a 13-minute delay from 98 in Wake Forest down to the 540 interchange in Raleigh.
All right, thank you, Brian. And this morning in Durham, police were busy into the early morning hours after 3 people were shot on a busy street. It happened on East Main Street, and it was an active scene until after midnight. Brett Neese is in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. He was there when police had that street closed for hours as they worked to determine what happened.
Investigators were at that scene till about 2 a.m. It took them about 5 hours to investigate and process that crime scene, which is just feet away from the police department here in downtown Durham. Take a look. This is video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. We're talking about the neighborhood along Main Street between Fayetteville Street and South Alston Avenue. Unfortunately, it's a neighborhood that has seen shootings in the past. So this is another one that investigators will have to try to piece together. But there are a lot of questions for the Durham Police Department this morning that I'm asking, including who are these 3 people that were shot? How are they doing this morning? And are they connected in any way? I'm also asking whether or not police know who is responsible for this latest shooting in this neighborhood. As soon as I get an update, I'll pass it along. In Durham, Brett Neese, WRAL News.
And we're following more breaking news out of Durham. 2 people are safe after a home caught fire earlier this morning. Our crew in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker took video of the scene on Chapel Hill Road. One of their cats died from smoke inhalation. The other cat is okay. 33 firefighters responded to this scene. They left around 5 o'clock this morning. The 2 people who lived there are staying with friends. The cause of the fire is still under investigation.
And a water main break. This is breaking news we're following this morning. It's causing traffic delays in Fayetteville. This Sky 5 video shows that break over Hope Mills Road near Queensdale Drive. It started about 3 o'clock this morning, and firefighters say the water flooded a nearby home. The American Red Cross is helping 2 people who are now out of that home, and they are telling folks if you are driving around that area, just try to avoid it. UNC Chapel Hill leaders are considering how they can improve safety on campus for students and faculty. This comes after the shooting in August that left a professor dead and another incident that led to a campus-wide lockdown. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us now from Chapel Hill. And Laura, this could include active shooter training for both faculty and students.
Yeah, Jeff, here on campus at UNC, security and safety remains a top priority for everyone involved. I spoke with one Board of Trustees member who says that active shooter training should be mandatory, not voluntary. So when it happened, the UNC campus went into lockdown for 3 hours. David Bullock, he served on the board since 2019, and he immediately said more should be done. He shared those sentiments the day after the shooting with fellow board members through text messages, stating there should be a policy that requires faculty to go through training on lockdowns. He tells me, though, the university offers emergency response information and training resources to the campus community. He believes this information should be shared in a more direct way.
Next steps, I do believe, will include some active shooter training for students and faculty, the implementation of additional cameras on campus, and at some point, the implementation of license plate readers along our streets.
So let's talk about next steps. He says that university leaders and university police are working on a full debrief of that August 28th shooting. He says that report will not be released today, but it is a part of their ongoing conversations. That meeting begins at 10 a.m. Laura Levine, WRAL News. We're live in Chapel Hill.
2 Robeson County deputies are recovering from surgery this morning after being shot. There was a shootout with a man in Maxton. Robeson County Sheriff Bernice Wilkins says Sean Locklear shot both deputies and then stole a patrol car and ran one of them over with it. Deputy Jonathan Walters was shot in the legs, and Deputy Kaylin Locklear was shot in the upper body. Despite similar last names, no relation between the suspect and Deputy Locklear. During the shootout, deputies shot Sean Locklear 4 times. He is in critical condition. The SBI is investigating.
We now turn to the results of local elections, including in Durham, where voters have selected their new mayor. City councilman and business owner Leonardo Williams is now the city's mayor-elect. More than 63% of voters chose him over challenger State Senator Mike Woodard. Minutes after the results were confirmed, Williams spoke with WRAL about his priorities for Durham.
Day one, there's going to be a new culture. Being able to work together, a functioning council. I really want to reintroduce Durham to the state of North Carolina. This race represented unity.
Williams was first elected to Durham City Council in 2021. He'll be sworn in as mayor next month, replacing Elaine O'Neill, who chose not to run for re-election. Nate Baker, Carl Rist will join the Durham City Council at large seats. Incumbent Javiera Caballero was also re-elected. Monique Halsey-Hyman did not get the votes needed to serve another term. The embattled city councilor faced allegations of bribery, but was later cleared by the State Bureau of Investigation.
Michelle, in Fayetteville, Mitch Colvin will continue as mayor for a 4th term. He easily beat his opponent, Freddie De La Cruz. Colvin was first elected mayor in November of 2017. He is the city's longest-serving black mayor. Chapel Hill will have a new mayor. Jess Anderson won the race with more than 58% of the vote over challenger Adam Searing. Anderson has been a Chapel Hill Town Council member since 2015. She'll replace Pam Heminger, who chose not to run for a 5th term. Coming up in 10 minutes, we'll take a look at more of the results from local elections. Also, you can find out what happened in your community on WRAL.com and the WRAL News app.
Abortion access took center stage in elections across the country, especially in Ohio, where voters chose to enshrine abortion rights in the state's constitution. Voters passed the issue one ballot measure, which inserts language in Ohio state's constitution guaranteeing every person in the state the right to one's own reproductive medical treatment. This bars the state from burdening, penalizing, or prohibiting those rights. Ohio also becomes the 24th state in the nation to legalize recreational marijuana. People 21 or older will be allowed to purchase and possess marijuana.
Big night for GOP candidates seeking their party's nomination for president. What you can expect tonight as they take the stage to face off in the third GOP debate.
Plus, it's been a long time coming for Patrick Dempsey. He was finally chosen as People's Sexiest Man Alive. We'll fill you in on Dr. McDreamy's recent activity and what he says about the honor.
And we have two more summer-like days in our forecast, 78 today and 81 on Thursday. Neither one of those likely to be a record high, but it'll still feel very warm out there. It doesn't last long. I'll show you Friday's front and the rain we could see with it.
.814 is the time right now. Beautiful look in Bladen County, White Lake, blue skies. Love it. Warm temperatures, too, as you watch WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. It is four of a kind over there, no matter where you look. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
Yeah, that's right. We have Goldsboro, Fayetteville right there at our newsroom. Apex and, of course, Chapel Hill, courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. Everybody's looking at sunshine right now. Let's talk about the situation that we're seeing today. Yesterday, we had a front up to our north. That allowed our temperatures to warm up into the 80s. Today, that front has sunk just a little bit farther south. So a little bit of a northeasterly wind today is going to keep us from reaching that 81 degrees that we hit yesterday. If we hit that 81, we'd break the record high for today. But more likely, we'll keep it in the upper 70s. It's not going to feel that much different. It's more like the record books we've been talking about, that potential record. It looks a little unlikely because that front is sinking southward. That front lifts back to the north and bounces us right back into the low 80s for tomorrow. But this next front behind it comes swinging through and puts us solidly in the cooler air all the way through the weekend and for much of next week as well. We'll also have a disturbance riding through. This is Friday at 7 a.m. and we have the potential for some light patchy rain all day long. We're not talking about very much rain, maybe a tenth of an inch or less. And we take a look at Saturday. Saturday looking cloudy but dry, and the same thing on Sunday. What we're watching for the end of the weekend and early next week is the chance of a low developing off the coast. If that develops and moves northward, there could be some rain late on Sunday and into the day on Monday. But this version of Futurecast keeps that well to the south and actually clears us out on Sunday. So a little iffy on what may happen on Sunday. So we've kept just a 20% chance of rain in for Saturday and Sunday. But right now, both of those days are trending much drier. Friday, it's just a 30% chance for a little bit of patchy light rain. We'll take a look at Futurecast potential rainfall for towns across our area. And it's in some cases, almost nothing showing up. And others, again, well under a tenth of an inch, just a few hundredths of an inch. So it'll feel more like drizzle. We definitely need some rain. So far for this fall season, we've had a little over 7.5 inches, which is an inch and a half behind for the season. And then for the year, 36 and almost a half inches, which puts us at about 3.5 inches below normal for the year. So we need the rain, but there's nothing in our 7-day forecast that's going to help to budge those numbers at all. Of course, our drought situation has been worsening the last few weeks, and this 7-day forecast is mostly dry. Now, Friday is going to feel cool and cloudy with some drizzle, but again, we're not going to measure a whole lot of rain. Saturday, Veterans Day, again, mostly cloudy, 60 degrees. Sunday, 59, and then a bit more sunshine early next week, but still cool, Brian.
8:16 right now, Elizabeth. Still watching these delays in South Durham on I-40 eastbound. We have a minor crash just beyond the 55 interchange. Also some sun glare delays. Seeing things easing up a little bit, but still looking at about a 10-minute backup on the eastbound side of I-40 from 15501 heading out toward 885. Still watching some delays on westbound I-40 between 751 and Highway 54. You can see those backups showing up there. Not huge delays, but adding a couple couple of minutes perhaps to that ride out of South Durham back toward Chapel Hill. Also, a report of an earlier crash on 54 right around the I-40 interchange. Looks like they're clearing that up, but we're still seeing some lingering delays, especially on 54 between I-40 and the 751 intersection. Elsewhere around the triangle, looking at Wake County right now, our major routes for the most part are in pretty good shape. I'm still watching delays on 87 southbound around Hodge Road. Things are looking a little better right around that area, but of course this time of day it's pretty congested as you head between 64 Business toward 440. About a 6-minute delay showing up overall on sensors. A couple other trouble spots around Raleigh that we're keeping our eyes on. On the south side of Raleigh, 40 westbound, about a 9-minute backup from 440 to US 1 with just some congestion out there. And our usual delays building on 440 westbound between I-87 and Wade Avenue, about an 8-minute backup overall.
Tonight, 5 top candidates for the GOP nomination for president will take the debate stage for the 3rd time. This one is hosted by NBC News. Chris Christie, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Tim Scott will participate in tonight's debate in Miami. Former President Donald Trump will again be absent from the stage. NBC News nightly news anchor Lester Holt and Meet the Press moderator Kristen Welker will moderate this event along with Hugh Hewitt from the Salem Radio Network. You can watch the debate live right here on WRAL starting at 8 o'clock.
And today you have one more chance to give your thoughts about the Wake County Public Schools plan to move thousands of students to new schools. The school board is holding a public hearing on the plan at 5:30 this afternoon at the boardroom in Cary. The plan impacts up to 5,000 students at 21 different schools. Some families have asked for changes, but the board has not altered the plan. A board vote to adopt the plan is scheduled for November 21st. The reassignments are slated to begin next school year. And we want to get back to more election results now. There was a seat up for grabs on the Cary Town Council. Sharika Bansal now narrowly leads Rachel Jordan for the seat on Council District 10 by 67 votes.
There were 4 bonds on the ballot for voters in Wake County. We start in Fuquay-Varina with the Parks and Recreation bond that was not approved by voters. In Holly Springs, a Parks and Rec bond was also on the ballot there. Voters approved that one. Over in Wendell, there were 2 bonds for voters to decide upon. And first, the Wendell Parks and Rec bond. Voters said yes to that. And Wendell folks also had their say about a transportation bond. Over 70% of voters approved that.
Investigators are offering a $150,000 reward for information leading to an arrest after someone robbed a postal worker. This is a photo from where it happened last month on University Woods Road in Raleigh. Investigators with the U.S. Postal Service say someone robbed the mail carrier around lunchtime on October 26th.
A lot of attraction to this one on social media this morning. People magazine has named its sexiest man alive, and the honor this year goes to Patrick Dempsey. Look at the covers here, courtesy of the latest issue of People magazine. Dempsey played heartthrob neurosurgeon Dr. Derek Shepard, and that was on the medical drama from 2005 to 2015. He has a couple of movies out, biopic Ferrari and Thanksgiving, opening on the 17th. He can't talk about them, though, because of that writer's strike that continues right now. But how about that?
Yeah, finally. Well, medical credit cards and loans promise to ease the medical debt burden carried by nearly 100 million adults in the U.S., but you should think twice about signing up. Consumer Reports says applying for a medical credit card or loan can come with big drawbacks. That includes high interest rates, steep payment penalties, and damage to your credit. 5 on Your Side has told you to ask the provider if they offer interest-free or low-interest payment plans. Consumer Reports says there are options better than credit cards.
If you have good credit, you may want to consider a personal loan from your bank or credit union, where interest rates start around 10%.
And never give your credit card in an emergency room. Instead, ask for the invoice to be sent to your insurance company or to be mailed to you if you are uninsured. If you still can't afford the bill, you can look for charitable programs. This is one. $for.org is one Consumer Reports recommends.
Thousands of people are interested in becoming patients for Elon Musk's brain implant business. The company Neuralink announced it is looking for volunteers for its first clinical trial. It says the ideal candidate is a person with quadriplegia who is younger than 40 and wouldn't mind having a piece of their skull taken out to insert wires into their brain. The report says Neuralink is planning to operate on 11 people next year. The The company says its initial goal is to help people with neurological disorders and eventually plans to bond humans with machines.
The navigation app Waze is adding a new feature to help its users. A new alert will warn drivers when they're coming up on a road prone to car crashes. The feature will utilize historical crash data to generate warnings and keep drivers alert. The alerts don't distinguish between major and minor accidents. The feature is now available in the app, and you can check for it by going to their settings and clicking alerts and reports.
Time to say goodbye to the giant pandas at the Smithsonian National Zoo in Washington, D.C. A lot of folks watched those pandas grow up over the years, just munching away on their favorite treats, taking a snooze after their hard work. One family flew in all the way from Nashville just for the day to say goodbye.
I've been stalking the news and Facebook every single day to make sure that they were going to be here. I was going to have to change my flight. Literally everybody I know, I've told them I'm going to see the pandas at the National Zoo.
Well, the pandas are expected to leave by November 15th. It'll be the first time in 23 years the National Zoo won't have their furry friends there. Coming up, Durham voters have selected a new mayor. What the mayor-elect, Leonardo Williams, told WRAL his top priorities will be once he takes office.
And 2 Robeson County deputies are recovering after they were hurt in a shootout yesterday. What we know about the accused shooter's criminal history.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning and happy Wednesday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. A beautiful fall day, but it certainly doesn't feel like fall. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner with a beautiful look over Clinton. We're going to get to 80.
I think we're getting really used to this. When we move back into a much cooler pattern over the weekend, it may be a little bit of a shock. Beautiful morning over Clinton, nothing but blue sky. We're seeing that everywhere across the viewing area. At this point, a jacket might feel nice for maybe a couple of hours, but boy, we're going to see a quick warm up. Walking the dog by lunchtime, temperatures will be in the mid 70s. We'll see a high of 78 this afternoon and one more day above normal tomorrow. Brian?
Elizabeth, I'm still watching some delays on 40 eastbound in South Durham. Just beyond the 55 interchange, you're going to see a crash over here on the right shoulder near Alston Avenue. Still measuring about a 10-minute backup overall from the 15501 interchange around Chapel Hill back toward 885. The usual delays building in both directions of 885 this morning in Durham. And as we take a look at major approaches into Raleigh, an 11-minute delay as you come in from Wake Forest on southbound Capitol Boulevard down to 540. And we're also starting to see some sun glare delays on 40 eastbound as you head around the airport, about a 7-minute backup from 885 to Wade Avenue.
All right, thanks, Brian. Today, UNC will begin taking the next steps to improve safety after the shooting on campus in August. That may include new active shooter training for students and faculty and improving lights for nighttime events. The school's Board of Trustees will gather today and tomorrow to talk about the plan forward. Coming up next for us on Fox 50, Elizabeth is tracking a possibility of record high temperatures this week. She'll tell us how long the warmth will last. And next on Today, an international K-pop star performs live on the plaza.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
One more warm day before we see colder air filtering in along with a front on Friday. I'll show you how much rain we could see with it.
Voters in Durham have elected a new mayor. Just ahead, what the mayor-elect says are his top priorities for the Bull City.
That gets us started as we welcome you inside our WRAL studio here, 8:30 on a Wednesday morning. Beautiful Wednesday morning. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And Michelle McConaughey. Yeah, I mean, getting up to near 80 degrees. What day is it? November.
Weirdness, the 8th here on this Wednesday.
November 8th, and it's going to be almost 80 degrees. It's not going to
last
degrees.
forever.
No, it won't last forever. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner tells us how long it'll last.
And you wouldn't be surprised by this, I'm sure, but we are on track to see the warmest year on record at RDU. I'm not sure we'll see what December has in store for us. But yes, it has been very, very warm. And another one today and tomorrow. Fayetteville looking beautiful there with sunny skies. Temperatures in the Triangle are in the mid-50s right now. In Fayetteville, we're also looking at mid-50s at 56, 56 in Goldsboro and Rocky Mount, 57 Southern Pines. That sunshine's helping to warm things up nicely. We'll see a high of 78, not likely to hit our record of 80 degrees, but we'll be very close to it and close to it again tomorrow. After that, we have cooler air that arrives on Friday and the chance of a few sprinkles. We'll talk about the timeline for rain and how much cooler will be behind that front coming up.
We're following breaking news out of Durham. 2 people are safe after a home caught on fire early this morning. Our crew in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker took this video of the scene on Chapel Hill Road. Sadly, one of their cats died from smoke inhalation. The other cat is okay. 2 people who live there are now staying with friends. The cause of the fire is still under investigation.
And breaking news this morning, a water main break is causing traffic delays in Fayetteville. This is Sky 5 video showing the break over Hope Mills Road near Queensdale Drive. It began around 3 o'clock this morning. Firefighters say the water flooded a nearby home. The American Red Cross is helping 2 people who are now out of that home. Drivers should avoid that area. And today, leaders at UNC Chapel Hill are pushing for new safety measures after that deadly shooting on campus earlier this semester. WRAL's Laura Levine explains how this could include new active shooter response training for students, faculty, and staff.
Campus security remains the top priority for university leaders, students, and staff. And some of the ideas that are being thrown out there right now is installing more security cameras here on campus and also improving the lighting along streets on campus. One Board of Trustees member I spoke with is advocating for active shooter training to now be mandatory. When the UNC campus and local schools were locked down for 3 hours as police looked for an armed and dangerous person who we now know is being accused of shooting and killing a professor, David Bullock, who has served on the board since 2019, immediately said more should be done. He shared those sentiments the day after with fellow board members through text messages, stating there should be a policy that requires faculty to go through training on lockdowns. As we know, they are now meeting in person. He tells me though the university offers emergency response information and training resources to the campus community, he believes this information should be shared in a more direct way.
Well, I believe that what we need to do is get it in front of students, make it part of orientation. Get it in front of faculty, make it part of the start of the new school year or semester, because ultimately it's about saving lives. And that type of training is very important.
University leaders and university police are working on a full debrief of that August 28th shooting. He tells me, though, that will not be presented today, but in the coming months. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Chapel Hill.
2 Robinson County deputies are recovering from surgery this morning after being shot. There was a shootout with a murder suspect in Maxton. Robinson County Sheriff Bernice Wilkins says Sean Locklear shot both deputies and then stole a patrol car and ran one of them over with it. Deputy Jonathan Walters was shot in the leg. Deputy Kaylin Locklear was shot in the upper body. There's no relation between the suspect and the deputy, both last name Locklear, despite having that same name. During the shootout, deputies shot Sean Locklear 4 or 5 times. He is currently in critical condition. A friend of Deputy Walters says he's praying for both the recovery of law enforcement officers.
It's a sickening feeling, it really is. My heart goes out to him and his family. I've been praying constantly.
Sheriff Wilkins expressed frustration that Sean Locklear posted bond for a robbery committed in March of last year and then also was later arrested for first-degree murder and then released. The SBI is investigating.
The results are in for elections here and across the country. And this morning, we now know who will be Durham's next mayor. City councilman and business owner Leo Williams is now Durham's mayor-elect. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains Williams' big plans for what he'll do when he takes office.
Leonardo Williams will walk through this building today as the new mayor-elect. The former teacher and owner of Zweli's Kitchen in Durham says his top priority is creating a new culture for city council members. I want everyone to take a look at this video from his watch party last night. Addressing crime is also one of his priorities. He says he plans to build on the city's current apprenticeship program. That's an effort to keep youth off the streets. Williams beat his challenger, Mike Woodard, with more than 60% of the vote. This is his message to voters today.
My goal, number one, is to make sure the council is functioning again. And I think that we can effectively respond to our crime issue, our housing issue, our transportation issue, all of those policies that are really important to people. We can't address them if we can't even address ourselves as a functioning body.
Williams has been serving on Durham City Council since 2021, and he'll officially take office next month. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Durham.
Nate Baker and Carl Rist will also join Durham City Council. They'll have at-large seats. Incumbent Javier Caballero also was reelected. Monique Halsey-Hyman did not get the votes needed to serve another term. The embattled city council member faced allegations of bribery, but was later cleared by the State Bureau of Investigation.
In Fayetteville, Mitch Colvin will continue as mayor for a fourth term. He easily beat his challenger, Freddie De La Cruz. Colvin was first elected mayor in November of 2017. He is the city's longest-serving black mayor. And Chapel Hill will have a new mayor. Jess Anderson won the race with more than 58% of the vote over challenger Adam Searing. Anderson has been a Chapel Hill Town Council member since 2015. She'll replace Pam Heminger, who chose not to run for a fifth term.
In 10 minutes, we'll break down some of the big national election results. And a reminder, you can find out what happened in your local community's votes on WRAL.com and on the WRAL News app.
And happening now in the WRAL Live Center, an update to a story that we've been following all morning long, a shooting on East Main Street in Durham, injuring 3 people. This is new information into our newsroom from Durham Police. Our Brett Neese has been asking these questions. We finally got some answers. At about 8:37 p.m. last night, officers got a shot spotter alert in the 900 block of East Main Street. When officers arrived on the scene, they found one male victim suffering from a gunshot wound on Dale Street. Investigators found 2 more shooting victims in the 1100 block of East Main Street. Again, all these injuries are non-life-threatening. According to police, all the victims are taken to the hospital. This remains an active investigation. We'll keep pressing Durham Police for more information about what happened and the status of these individuals.
All right, thank you, Ken. Coming up, an urgent call for action from the CDC. Why they say the amount of babies born with syphilis is skyrocketing and how the spread can easily be avoided.
Plus, more people are relying on credit cards for their financial needs. The new record high we are seeing after debt surged by billions.
And it'll be a warm day as you're taking a live look at Wilson this morning. Beautiful blue skies. Elizabeth will tell us how long the warmth will stick around and when we can expect that cool air to move back in. Welcome back on your Wednesday morning. 8:42 is the time. This is a live look over Zebulon this morning. Beautiful day there. It looks like they're setting up for a Veterans Day celebration. You can see the tents there. It's going to be a gorgeous day for anything that you want to do outside. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner with a look over Fayetteville. I mean, warm temperatures, sunny skies. Does it get better than this?
Not really. It was such a pretty weekend, too. Fayetteville had their Veterans Day parade on Saturday, but Veterans Day itself is this coming Saturday. The weather's not going to be quite as nice. Doesn't look like it's going to be raining, but it'll definitely be cooler. 56 is the temperature right now in Fayetteville and in the Triangle. Temperatures will climb in the middle of the afternoon to upper 70s, which will be nice. It'll be well above normal, more than 10 degrees above normal for this time of year. Looking at 59 in Goldsboro, 56 in Rocky Mount, 54 in Roxborough, 57 in Southern Pines right now. Around town, 78 in Raleigh, 77 in Durham, and 81 for the high in Fayetteville this afternoon. We take a look at the big picture. We typically have cooler air in the north and warmer air in the south. That's pretty much a given. But every once in a while, we see that cooler air, trying to make a dip down into the south. And that's exactly what's happening. There's not a big difference in temperature here. New York's at 44. 54. We're sitting at 56, but the front has dipped just south of our area. That's going to bring northeasterly winds and a slight drop in our temperature. Yesterday we were going 81, which would have broken the record high. Today's 78, and that's why, because that front's going to sink a little farther south. It's just for today. It lifts northward, and high temperatures are likely to climb back to around 80, 81 tomorrow. But then the cold front's going to slide right on through and will permanently be on the cool side all the way through the weekend and into early next week. We'll also have a disturbance that rides through. There's Friday at 7 a.m. There's Friday at 6 p.m. And you can see just a little bit of light rain. Temperatures will be cooler over the weekend. We'll see some cloud cover. Saturday and Sunday are looking pretty dry, but definitely cooler. For today, our high 78. That's going to be just a couple of degrees below the previous record set back in 1986. And then for tomorrow, looking at 81, but the record's 83 set back in 2005. So probably not going to hit any records. Again, for Friday, will be cloudy, and at game time, there could be a little bit of drizzle, little light rain. It's probably not going to be enough to cancel any games. A lot of the games are playoffs. At this point, temperatures will be cool in the 50s, but again, I wouldn't anticipate any rainouts. We'll see a high on Friday of 68, but then we drop Saturday to 60 and 59 on Sunday with variably cloudy skies. It'll be pretty gray on Saturday and for most of Sunday too. Once we get past that, we get to November 15th through the 21st, and look at that. We have the potential for above normal temperatures again. And if it's felt like it's been warm, well, you're exactly right. We have the warmest year to date on record at RDU right now. The average temp is 66 degrees, and that's about 2.5 degrees above normal, thanks to Southeast Regional Climate Center. So we'll see how things play out in December, but it could end up being the warmest on record at RDU in terms of averages. Saturday and Sunday looking dry, as well as Monday and Tuesday, but temperatures remain cool at least into the start of next week.
Well, finding something to do with your family can be tough at times, but WRAL family, we have you covered. WRAL lifestyle editor Kathy Hanrahan is here with 3 upcoming family events that we can all check out before the end of the year, Kathy.
So there's a lot of shows coming up. They're perfect for families. Now, first up, next week, we've got Peppa Pig's Sing-Along Party. The show is Monday, November 13th at Durham Performing Arts Center. It's a very interactive show, lots of fun, jumping in muddy puddles, all your favorite characters.
What more could kids want, right? Jumping in muddy puddles. What about fans of dinosaurs? Anything for them?
We've got stuff for them. Okay, Jurassic Quest is coming to the Raleigh Convention Center November 17th through the 19th. Tons of life-size animatronic dinosaurs to check out. Very interactive as well for the kids.
And we wrap up with one of my favorites. I saw this as a little girl, Disney on Ice. It's still happening.
I know. I went on the ice when I was a little kid. I got to go on the ice, and I remember this, and it was so fantastic. Okay, the show's coming to PNC Arena December 6th through the 10th. Magic and the Stars show. It's a new show. There's going to be characters from Frozen, Encanto, Aladdin. It's brand new, so it's going to be really, really good.
So some of the characters are a little different from when we were growing up, but it's still such a fun show. It's such a fun event for the entire family, no matter what age you are.
So
I love it. All right, thanks, Kathy. We have lots coming up. We have more, including ticket information on our website. All you have to do is search keyword WRAL family.
Tonight, 5 top candidates for the GOP nomination for president will take the debate stage for the 3rd time. This is a live look we have right now, the Adrian Arce Center for the Performing Arts, Miami-Dade County, where that debate will take place. There'll be Chris Christie, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Tim Scott participating in the debate tonight in Miami, hosted by NBC News. Former President Donald Trump will be absent once again from the stage. NBC Nightly News anchor Lester Holt and Meet the Press moderator Kristen Welker will moderate the event, along with Hugh Hewitt from the Salem Radio Network. You can watch the debate on WRAL starting at 8 o'clock tonight.
The Wake County School Board has voted to adjust its policies to reflect state law, specifically Senate Bill 49, the so-called Parents' Bill of Rights. This law includes notifying parents of survey questions being asked of students, requiring school systems to send parents copies of survey questions, allowing parents to request a list of materials their child gets from the library, and says staff should not encourage a child to keep a secret from a parent. There has been outcry about this law from some people because it also requires a parent to be informed if their child wants to go by a different name or gender identity, which could out them. But those elements were not a part of the district's discussion on Tuesday night.
The Associated Press is projecting that Democrats in Virginia will hold on to the state Senate. Virginia voters rejected Republican efforts to take full control of the state's government. Democrats are also fighting to take control of the House, which remains uncalled. They held a narrow Senate majority before the election, while Republicans were narrowly in control of the House. Democratic control of the legislature is likely to serve as a counterweight to Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin. His conservative policy proposals include a 15-week abortion ban.
And new this morning, House lawmakers have voted to censure Democratic Representative Rashida Tlaib, the sole Palestinian American in Congress, over her remarks on the Israel-Hamas war. There were 22 Democrats who voted, with most Republicans to censure her, and 4 Republicans voted against the measure. The resolution censures Tlaib for promoting false narratives regarding Hamas's attack on Israel and for calling for the destruction of the state of Israel.
Capitol Boulevard is back open again this morning after this serious crash shut it down. This was the scene last night when the WRAL breaking news tracker got on scene. Ponderosa Service Road. 3 people were taken to the hospital to be checked out. They are expected to be okay. There's no word on charges or what caused that crash. Health officials are calling for urgent action to address an alarming increase in the number of babies born with syphilis. The CDC reports more than 3,700 babies were born with syphilis in the U.S. last year. It's a 32% increase from the year before. The CDC says the new numbers are the highest reported in the U.S. in more than 30 years. A single course of penicillin given at least a month before the end of a pregnancy nearly always prevents infected mothers from passing the bacteria along to their babies. More Americans are relying on credit cards to pay for everyday expenses. Credit card debt hit a new record high at the end of September. In the 3-month period from July to September, it surged more than $1 trillion. That is an increase of $48 billion from the previous quarter.
A grand jury has returned an indictment for State Auditor Beth Wood for using a public vehicle for her personal use. Search warrants describe an SBI agent obtaining telematics for Woods' vehicle, which showed trips to a spa and apparent use of the vehicle for buying Christmas gifts. Wood would face a misdemeanor for improper use of a state vehicle. She was convicted on a hit-and-run charge for a December crash. Wood responded after the indictment saying, "I personally overpaid my commuting miles to make sure it covered any personal use over and above commuting. I am very disappointed that the district attorney's office has decided to bring criminal charges against me."
PNC Arena won't be named after a sports betting company, and neither will Bank of America Stadium if new rules around sports betting are put in place. North Carolina Lottery's latest set of proposals would ban sports betting companies from buying the naming rights at arenas, stadiums, and tracks. The proposed rules would also ban advertising targeted at people under 21, including in college stadiums and on college media.
Our Teacher of the Week is Durham Public Schools Teacher of the Year, and WRAL's Brian Schrader surprises an educator who gives her students a taste of life in college.
You can see that English is not boring in Jahara Davis's classroom at Hillside High School in Durham. This North Carolina Central University graduate never thought she'd become a teacher.
I come from a long line of teachers, but I just knew I was going to be a lawyer. I just knew it. No.
But Davis found her calling in the classroom. She says her time as a substitute teacher was eye-opening.
What I realized, there was a lack of representation. I was either the only black teacher and I was a sub. And that made no sense to me.
Davis has been teaching now for 9 years, and she says her students keep her coming back.
We just have that relationship, and they yearn for me, and I yearn for them, and I'm so glad I get to teach these kids every single day.
Now, this is Hillside High School, but when she's here, it's Village University, and she is Professor Davis, giving students a taste of their options after high school.
And I hope it inspires them to go to college and to go into a career, because you got this small HBCU experience while being in my classroom at Village University.
You're WRAL's Teacher of the Week. Congratulations. Round of applause. I'm Brian Schrader, WRAL News.
And if you'd like to nominate a teacher, go to WRAL.com and enter Teacher of the Week in the search box.
Happening today, Wake Tech will celebrate veterans with a special observance. Students, faculty, and staff will gather at the Southern Wake campus for the event. It'll feature music from the 82nd Airborne Band. Retired General George Higgins, who is now an adjunct philosophy professor at Wake Tech, he'll give the keynote address. It is happening at 11 this morning on campus on Fayetteville Road. Another batch of Starlink's satellites are in orbit this morning.
2, 1, ignition. Engines full power, and liftoff of Starlink. Go Falcon, go Starlink.
SpaceX Falcon 9 going, carrying 23 satellites from Cape Canaveral. Just after midnight it took off. Now the satellites provide internet service to parts of the world, and since 2019, SpaceX has launched over 5,000 of them.
Cool sight to see. All right, before we head to break, here are your winning lottery numbers. We'll get another check on weather and traffic next.